The Zephyrian dreadnought Crimson Tone, a vessel of quiet efficiency, drifted above the unknown world. Commander Vexto, his scaled hands clasped behind his back, observed the unusual signals emanating from the planet below. These signals, unlike anything encountered in the Zephyrian Empire's 17-system conquest, intensified, reported Lieutenant Ziem from the communications station. The signals seemed to originate from multiple points across the planet's surface. Vexto, though, was unsettled by the world's beauty. Azure oceans covered most of the globe, interspersed with verdant and ochre landmasses, all nestled under white clouds. Its peaceful countenance, however, felt strangely discordant to his warrior's instincts. "What do the scans reveal about this world?" he asked the science officer.
Sub-Commander Kvar, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, responded, "The readings are unusual, sir. Gravity is nearly twice our norm for inhabited worlds. The atmosphere contains oxygen levels toxic to many known species, and weather patterns indicate regular, catastrophic storms." He paused, then added, "Yet these intelligent signals persist." Vexto pondered the implications. What kind of species could endure such conditions? Meanwhile, on Earth's Aurora base, Captain Jake Morrison experienced the most extraordinary day of his career. Observing Earth from orbit, the station detected the arrival of a massive alien fleet. Jake confirmed the readings, realizing the momentous occasion. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" he called out to his communications officer. Lisa, her brown hair falling around her face, responded, "If you mean the alien fleet just entered our solar system, then yes." Excitement underlaid her calm voice. "At least 50 ships, some colossal." Jake immediately contacted Earth's military and government leaders. Humanity, decades preparing for this event, had protocols in place. "Make contact," came the order from General Hayes. "Employ the mathematical sequences discussed." Lisa began transmitting prime numbers, followed by mathematical constants. The aliens responded swiftly, broadcasting mathematical sequences, geometric patterns, and rudimentary pictographs. "They're sending images, simple pictures of their species, ships, and basic concepts," Lisa reported. The images showed bipedal, lizard-like creatures with 4 eyes and scales, highlighting their ship's immense size. The messages seemed peaceful. "They request permission to send a small group to the planet's surface," Lisa translated. "They wish to meet with our representatives." Jake, overwhelmed and filled with a mix of wonder and apprehension, understood the potential significance. Commander Vexto, having encountered dozens of alien races during their galactic expansion, recognized a similar pattern in this sudden contact. Typically, first contact involved demonstrations of technological superiority and submission or conquest. But this instance felt different. Lieutenant Zoom reported the natives' agreement to the meeting. They suggested a landing point in what seemed to be a natural preserve. "A preserve?" Vexto questioned. "What sort of preserve?" The alien communications indicated a protected area, a Yellowstone National Park, dedicated to natural wildlife and features. Vexto found this unusual and suspected that this species was either extraordinarily advanced or strikingly primitive. "Very well," Vexto decided. "Select 3 scouts for the surface mission. Kvar and 2 of our best warriors, fully equipped with environmental suits and heavy armor. We caution against unnecessary risks. Atmospheric readings suggest the natives breathe a similar mix of gases, only in different concentrations," Kvar noted. "The suits may not be necessary." "Better to be prepared in case of unforeseen circumstances," replied Vexto. Back on Aurora base, Jake and Lisa continued their contact. The Zerians, as they identified themselves, controlled a significant portion of their local galaxy. Why meet on the surface? Lisa wondered aloud. Why not on their ships?
Maybe it's a test. Perhaps they wish to observe us, our world, Jake considered. The cautious nature of the contact emphasized the alien fleet's caution, not conquest. As the Zephyrian shuttle's steel claw descended, 3 warriors prepared for their mission. Subcommander Kivar and Dexmo and Centaur, a veteran and a skilled warrior, respectively. This is a diplomatic mission. Observe, learn, and report. The natives have chosen a peaceful location, Kivar communicated. Any species inhabiting this challenging world deserves our respect, noted Dexmo. Centaur also concurred, mentioning the planet's natural beauty. Below, the landscape was stunning, with varied temperatures and abundant waterways. The ground temperature varies wildly, reported Kivar. The shuttle landed, revealing 2 minuscule, human-like figures awaiting them. They don't seem prepared, Dexmo noted. Perhaps their suits are more advanced. Kivar opened the shuttle's door. The air rushing out was like breathing fire. Their suits needed to filter the atmosphere. Even the filtered air was caustic. The pull of gravity, a palpable weight, hampered their every movement. Centaur gasped, clinging to the shuttle's doorway for support. How do they breathe this? Outside, Park Ranger Tony Martinez watched the 3 aliens, their struggles to simply stand, with growing concern. He'd been briefed, but no one had anticipated this difficulty coping with Earth's environment. Are they all right? Dr. Amy Foster, the biologist assisting with first contact, asked. She carried a tablet loaded with basic translation software and Earth imagery. Tony shrugged. Perhaps they come from a planet with lower gravity. Let's give them time to adjust. The 3 Zerians slowly emerged from the shuttle. Each step was a monumental effort. Their suits reported the atmosphere as breathable but unusually dense. Oxygen levels were almost toxic, while other vital gases were nearly absent. "Greetings," Tony called out, speaking slowly and clearly, extending a hand in a gesture of peace. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Tony Martinez, and this is Dr. Amy Foster." Kivar activated his suit's translation system. After a moment, he responded in heavily accented English. "Greetings, humans. I am Subcommander Kethvar. These are warriors Dexmo and Centaur. Pleasure to meet you," Amy said warmly. "We're in Yellowstone National Park. It's one of your protected wilderness areas. We thought it would be a peaceful place for our first meeting." Peaceful was still being processed when the ground beneath them rumbled. The Zephyrians instantly drew their weapons, scanning for threats. Their suits detected seismic activity equivalent to a minor artillery barrage. "Earthquake?" Centaur asked, bracing herself. "Oh, that's just Old Faithful," Tony said nonchalantly, pointing to a small hill 200 meters away. "She's about to blow. Pretty spectacular, really." Before the aliens could ask what he meant, the hill erupted. A column of superheated water and steam shot nearly 200 feet into the air, a rocket launch in miniature. The sound was continuous thunder. Zephyrian suits registered temperatures capable of melting their armor and pressure readings indicating a massive explosion. Yet, the 2 humans simply watched with evident delight. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Amy commented. "Old Faithful erupts about every 90 minutes. The water temperature reaches over 200 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to cook food instantly." Dexmo stared at the geyser in horror. Tony interjected. "This isn't volcanic, exactly. The park sits atop a supervolcano, but it's been dormant for 70,000 years. These are geothermal features. We have thousands throughout the park." The concept of a supervolcano challenged the translation system. Finally, the 3 Zephyrians visibly recoiled. "Supervolcano," Kethvar repeated weakly. "Yes," Amy reassured. "Yellowstone is basically a giant volcanic caldera. If it ever erupted, it would likely affect the planet's climate. But the chances of that anytime soon are extremely small." Just as they processed this, a deep rumbling growl echoed from the forest. Their suits identified it as a territorial challenge from a large predator. "Oh, look," Tony said, pulling a small device from his pocket. "There's a grizzly bear. Probably a male, judging by the size. Let's move. They can get a bit grumpy this time of year." The creature that emerged resembled a nightmare. Nearly 4 feet tall at the shoulder, its massive body covered in thick brown fur. Muscles rippled beneath its coat, and its claws were longer than Zephyrian combat knives. The creature stood on its hind legs, towering over even the tallest Zephyrian. "Magnificent specimen," Amy whispered, taking pictures. "Probably weighs around 800 pounds. Impressive claws, perfect for digging through fallen logs to find insects." Centaur's hand moved towards her plasma rifle. "Threat?" Tony inquired, surprised. "No, just curious. These bears are generally peaceful and less bothered." The bear dropped to all fours and began walking towards them with a casual stride that belied its terrifying appearance. The Zephyrians watched in frozen horror as this apex predator, capable of tearing through their armor, approached within 50 meters. Tony clapped his hands loudly. "Hey, bear, move along now." The predator looked at him, then turned and wandered back into the forest. "Problem solved," Tony remarked cheerfully. "Now, where would you like to begin your park tour?" The Zephyrians exchanged stunned glances. They had encountered a world where ground exploded, the air was barely breathable, and massive predators roamed freely. Yet, humans seemed oblivious. "Commander," Keithvar reported to his superiors, "we may have underestimated these humans." After 3 hours in Yellowstone, the Zephyrian scouts were ready to experience human civilization. Sub-Commander Kvar had coordinated this with Captain Jake Morrison on Aurora Base. They hoped a visit to a human city would counteract the unsettling experience of the wilderness. Jake and Lisa Harper met the group at a small airfield outside the park. The humans had arranged military transport to New York City, touted as a testament to Earth's urban planning and engineering prowess. "You'll love New York," Lisa told them. "It's home to over 8 million people and one of our most modern cities." The Zephyrians settled into their seats, their environmental suits still working hard to filter Earth's air. The flight afforded a view of the continent, vast swathes of uncontrolled verdant growth. Forests stretched for hundreds of kilometers, unmanaged, untouched by human intervention. Rivers flowed in their natural courses. Evidence of frequent forest fires, storms, and other natural disasters was plain. The landscape had been reshaped without apparent human control. "Do your people not control your planet's surface?" Dexmo asked. Jake appeared perplexed. "Control it? We have cities, farms, roads. But much of the planet is just wild, natural areas. We value wilderness, but the dangers you faced, the predators, the storms, instability. How do you protect your population?" Lisa explained. "We build cities in safe locations, have early warning weather systems, but frankly, most of the Earth is pretty safe if you know what you're doing and take reasonable precautions." The Zephyrians exchanged glances. Their homeworld was completely terraformed, every meter controlled and safe. Leaving vast areas wild was incomprehensible. Approaching New York, the aliens saw vast rectangular structures packed tightly together, reaching hundreds of meters. Structures built from seemingly primitive materials: stone, metal, hardened sand, concrete and steel mostly, Jay confirmed. Some had stood for over a century. The shuttle landed on a platform attached to a towering structure. A startling wall of sound greeted them, a cacophony of sounds far exceeding anything experienced during combat. "Welcome to Manhattan," Lisa announced cheerfully. "Rush hour just started, so it's a bit busy." Stepping onto what Jake called a sidewalk, they entered another chaotic scene. Streams of humans flowed past, weaving in seemingly random patterns. Vehicles, burning fossil fuels, produced clouds of exhaust. "How many humans live in this area?" Centaur asked. observing the endless flow of people with growing amazement. In Manhattan, about 1.6 million people are about during the day, Jake responded. But during business hours, the population swells to over 4 million, with commuters flooding in from surrounding areas. The sheer numbers were astounding. The entire Zephyrin homeworld, Seria Prime, had a population of only 2 billion, carefully distributed across its managed surface.
This single island contained more people than many of their colony worlds. A construction crew labored on a nearby building, their machinery's roar adding to the urban cacophony. The Zarperians watched, fascinated, as humans manipulated equipment that tore through solid concrete and steel, seemingly effortless. Sparks flew, and chunks of debris plummeted from great heights. Yet the workers, clad in minimal protective gear, continued their tasks. "Is this some kind of military demolition operation?" Dexmer inquired. "No," Lisa explained. "Just routine construction work. They're renovating the building's facade." One worker, Carlos Rodriguez, noticed the visitors and waved. He stood on a narrow platform, 20 stories above the street, operating heavy equipment. When finished, he descended to meet them. "Hey there," Carlos said, removing his hard hat and safety glasses. "You folks here for the tour? Heard we had some VIP visitors today." Jake introduced the aliens, and Carlos shook hands firmly, his grip registering forcefully on their pressure sensors. His hands, scarred from years of manual labor, bore witness to a life lived in the bustling city. "What you're doing up there?" Kevar asked, gesturing to the construction site. "It seems very dangerous." Carlos chuckled. "Dangerous? Nah, not really. You gotta be careful with your safety gear. Follow procedures. But I've been doing this for 15 years. It's just a job." The aliens watched workers move with casual confidence across narrow beams, wielding tools that could cleave through armor, heedless of the deadly drop below. Centaur observed quietly. The humans appear utterly fearless of heights. Their tour continued, each experience escalating their amazement. They saw humans consuming food and beverages, classified as potentially toxic by their suits, with apparent relish. A street vendor, Maria Santos, offered samples of her spicy tacos, containing chemical compounds utilized as non-lethal weapons in Zephyrian crowd control. "Try this," Maria said, holding out a habanero pepper. "Pretty mild compared to what I usually cook with." The chemical analysis flagged high capsaicin concentrations, potentially excruciating for most species. Yet humans consume them for pleasure. They observe children playing in a playground, equipment resembling a military obstacle course. 8-year-old Danny Kim swung on monkey bars, his entire weight suspended by his grip alone, then dropped to the ground from a height that would warrant extensive medical care. "Watch this," Danny called, careening down a metal slide. He accelerated to dangerous speeds, flew off the end, and landed safely in the sand. "The children," Dexmol remarked, "seem to be training for combat operations." "Combat?" Lisa asked, perplexed. "No, sir, they're just playing, having fun." Danny, overhearing, approached them. His backpack, surprisingly heavy for a child, contained textbooks, supplies, and what appeared to be emergency equipment. "Are you really aliens?" he asked directly. "That's so cool. You want to see me do a backflip?" Before they could answer, Danny executed a complex acrobatic maneuver, landing perfectly, grinning. "Time to come home," a voice called. "That's my mum," Danny explained. "I gotta go do my homework." "Nice meeting you, aliens." He ran off to his mother, displaying the effortless speed and stamina that the Zephyrians were starting to accept as a normal human trait. As the day progressed, the aliens continued observing seemingly impossible abilities. Construction workers heaving massive weights with no machinery, police officers chasing criminals on foot, and emergency medical personnel working calmly in hazardous conditions. By evening, as they prepared to return to their shuttle, The three Zephyrian warriors were silent. Their initial assessment of humanity had been drastically wrong. These humans lived not just on a hazardous Earth, but resided within a civilization, a constant survival exercise by Zephyrian standards. Yet, they flourished, creating art, music, literature, raising families, and building a complex, functioning society that somehow thrived in conditions that would decimate most species. "Commander Kethvar," reported Crimson Tone, "we need to completely reassess our understanding of this species. What they consider ordinary would be classified as extreme military training scenarios in our worlds." "Explain," came the response. "Sir, these humans haven't just survived, they've transformed survival into a fine art. They don't even realize how extraordinary they are." Dr. Jennifer Adams, Earth's leading xenobiologist, was summoned to present a comprehensive overview of human evolution and Earth's biological history. "Before we begin," Jennifer said, "I'd like to understand your world. It might help me explain things better." Sub-Commander Kethvar, consulting his translation device, offered a succinct description of Syria Prime. "Stable weather patterns, managed ecosystems, careful population control, roughly half the gravity, and lower oxygen concentrations. We've eliminated most large predators and dangerous geological features over millennia." Jennifer nodded thoughtfully. "That sounds like a very safe, well-planned environment. Earth is quite different." She launched into a presentation detailing Earth's 5 major mass extinction events, culminating in the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. "Earth's climate has undergone dramatic changes," she explained. "Ice ages, periods of extreme warmth, but life survived. Adaptation," she concluded. "Species adapt or vanish. This process, repeating over millions of years, created the incredible diversity of life we see today." She then covered human evolutionary history, emphasizing the precarious conditions of our early ancestors. "Early humans, faced with some of the most formidable predators ever, developed a unique hunting strategy," she concluded. "Persistence hunting. For days or even weeks, we tracked prey animals, pursuing them until exhaustion claimed their lives. Superior speed or strength wasn't necessary. Unwavering persistence sufficed." Jennifer presented a video showcasing modern humans employing persistence hunting techniques. The Zephyrians watched in astonishment as human runners followed wild animals across vast distances, maintaining a steady pace that would tire even their advanced vehicles. "While not the fastest species on your world," Centaur observed, "humans are among the best endurance runners. Our sustained pace surpasses nearly all mammals. We also develop sophisticated tools, cooperative hunting strategies, and complex communication, enabling united action against larger, more formidable creatures." The presentation then highlighted human survival in extreme environments. Jennifer displayed footage of humans living in Arctic regions, with temperatures plummeting far below freezing, arid deserts with scarce water and lethal temperatures, and high-altitude mountain areas with dangerously low oxygen levels, conditions fatal to most species. "Some human populations have inhabited these extremes for millennia," Jennifer explained, developing biological adaptations to flourish in environments that could destroy visitors from other regions. "Like your species, humans have biologically adapted to diverse environments," Kethvar inquired. "But how quickly, relatively speaking?" "Some populations exhibit noticeable adaptations within a few thousand years," Jennifer responded. "For instance, inhabitants of high altitudes possess enhanced lung capacity and more efficient oxygen processing. Humans in Arctic regions have distinct metabolisms, enabling them to withstand frigid conditions." Jennifer then addressed what she deemed the most intriguing aspect of human evolution: childhood development. Human infants are born utterly helpless, unable to walk, feed themselves, or survive without extensive care for several years. This, in many animal species,
would amount to an evolutionary dead end. Comparing human infants to the young of other species, Jennifer revealed that most animals possess inherent survival skills from birth. They can walk, find food, and evade predators shortly after birth. "How then did your species survive?" Dexmo asked, clearly perplexed.
"Through communal cooperation and extended parental care," replied Jennifer. "Human adults will risk their lives for their offspring, and entire communities collaborate in raising the young. This extended childhood allows them to acquire complex skills, language, and cultural knowledge that individual animals simply cannot achieve." The Zephyrians were beginning to grasp the completely different evolutionary approach characterizing humans. Jennifer's presentation concluded with a demonstration of human physical capabilities. Two military personnel, Marine Captain Alex Rivera and Army Sergeant Kate Sullivan, entered the conference room in standard uniforms. Relaxed and approachable, they presented a striking contrast to the Zephyrian sense of unease under Earth's gravity. They were, as Jennifer explained, typical human military personnel, demonstrating basic fitness drills. Alex began with a warm-up sequence, performing push-ups, completing 50 repetitions effortlessly. A similar demonstration of pull-ups and weightlifting followed. "These exercises are part of basic military fitness standards," Alex explained. "All soldiers must meet minimum requirements." Kate added, "These are just the basics. Special Forces personnel train much harder, encompassing endurance running, obstacle courses, combat training, and survival exercises." Alex demonstrated equipment, weights surpassing the lifting capacity of Zephyrian power armor, obstacle courses exceeding their elite forces' abilities, and weapons relying on speed, accuracy, not automated targeting systems. Jennifer emphasized that these physical capabilities weren't exclusive to the military. Most healthy humans can achieve similar feats. She showed footage of human sports and recreational activities, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, and skydiving, activities the Zephyrians considered extreme sports or recreational pursuits. Millions participate annually. The Zephyrian warriors sat in stunned silence. Their two-day observations had coalesced into a clear understanding. This suggests that humans might be the most physically capable species in the known galaxy, Dr. Adams Kevar stated. Jennifer was surprised. "We are reasonably athletic, but not particularly remarkable. Every species adapts to its environment," Dr. Adams Centaur replied, "most evolving in stable, safe conditions. We've never encountered a species evolved under such constant threats, predators, natural disasters, and environmental extremes." "What does this mean for our two species?" Kevar looked to his compatriots. "We have much to learn from each other." The return trip to Crimson Tone was Keith Farr's longest flight, promising a report to Commander Vexthal that would drastically alter the Zephyrian Empire's perception of the galaxy. Within an hour of docking, Keith Farr stood before senior officers, presenting compiled images and videos from Earth. "I must recommend immediate reclassification of the human homeworld and complete revision of our first contact protocols," he began. Commander Vexthal leaned forward, focusing intensely. "Explain." "Earth must be classified as a classic S1 death world, the highest danger rating. Gravity is 1.8 times our standard, oxygen levels near toxic. Geological instability necessitates evacuation protocols. Native predators include creatures weighing up to 800 kilograms with armor-piercing weapons. Humans live among these routinely, but without special technology, relying only upon their physical capabilities, a remarkable adaptation." Images of construction workers, children playing, and military personnel followed. Their educational system appears designed to foster physical and mental resilience. "Are you suggesting the entire human species is, essentially, our elite forces?" Commander Vexthal inquired. "Our elite forces would be considered average civilians, sir," Keith Farr replied. Complete silence descended. Vexthal activated his communication system. High Command, immediate contact required. Priority Alpha transmission. Supreme Admiral Kayfax, military leader of the Zephyrian Empire, appeared on the holographic display, his expression grave. Commander Vexto reported, Supreme Admiral, first contact with the human species is complete. I recommend immediate suspension of expansion plans and highest-level diplomatic protocols. On what grounds? Kayfax queried. Vexto gestured to Kethvar, who presented a detailed analysis of human capabilities compared to known galactic species. The figures were astonishing. Human strength-to-weight ratios surpassed those of most military-grade species. Their endurance was exceptional, and environmental tolerance far exceeded any species in the database. We've encountered the first true Deathworld species in galactic history, Kayfax concluded. They've evolved not just to survive, but to thrive in conditions that would destroy our finest warriors. What are your strategic recommendations? Any military action against Earth would likely result in catastrophic failure, Vexto responded. These humans might lack advanced space technology, but if they develop it, they'll be a threat to every civilized world. They're not inherently hostile, however. They appear peaceful and cooperative, yet their abilities are so vastly superior that conflict would be unwinnable. The Supreme Admiral considered this for several minutes. You are certain? I've reviewed all data. My career, my family name are on this assessment. Humans are unlike any other species. They are what others become when evolution is driven by constant survival pressure. Kayfax made his decision. Very well. Protocol 7 is authorized, the Empire's highest diplomatic protocol for species posing existential threats. This unprecedented protocol had never before been employed. Commander Vexto, remain in Earth's solar system as our ambassador. Establish a permanent diplomatic mission. Begin cultural exchange programs. I want to know everything about them. Understood, Supreme Admiral, replied Kayfax. Ensure they understand our peace-seeking intentions. 3 months later, Ambassador Helen Roberts stepped onto the surface of Zapariah Prime. A seasoned Navy pilot, she led Earth's first interstellar diplomatic mission. The Zephyrian delegation, impressive in their full-dress military attire, watched anxiously as Helen disembarked, appearing calm and composed on this alien world. Greetings, Supreme Admiral, Helen greeted with a warm smile. Thank you for the invitation to visit your beautiful home world. Kayfax bowed formally. Ambassador Roberts, the honor is ours. How do you find our gravity and atmosphere? Helen looked around. Very comfortable, much easier on the joints than Earth's gravity. The Supreme Admiral escorted her to opulent accommodations. We've prepared accommodations in our finest facility. We hope they meet your needs, Ambassador. I'm sure they will be wonderful. Helen added, I've brought gifts from Earth, traditional foods and beverages. She produced a small case containing items unusual for diplomatic exchange. Caffeine-rich coffee, mildly toxic charcoal, and pungent spices. Kayfax, inwardly concerned about the potential handling risks, remarked, Most thoughtful. As they travelled, Helen conversed about her journey and their shared excitement for cultural exchange, seemingly oblivious to the careful scrutiny from the Zephyrian delegation, treating her with respect, traditionally reserved for weapons of immense destructive potential. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison, humanity's first interstellar communications coordinator, managed the flood of messages from various alien civilizations who were now aware of humanity through the Zephyrian network. These messages uniformly expressed admiration and a desire for amicable relations. Jake reflected. A year ago, humanity was alone. Now, they were celebrated throughout the galaxy, not for conquest or technology, but for simply existing. A formal invitation from the Galactic Council arrived, inviting humanity to join, with full voting rights. Jake smiled, composing a response.
Curious about further interstellar encounters, the galaxy had discovered that the most extraordinary beings are often those who are unaware of their own extraordinary nature. Across the galaxy, alien species were readjusting strategies. A new power, unknown and undaunted, had emerged. The age of humanity among the stars had dawned.